and to imply that we should just ignore the impact that Caitlin Clark had on this team, this league, this sport. Nah, it doesn't work.
The moment basketball legend Sue Bird changed her mind about Caitlin Clark, the WNBA completely lost its balance. Fans went wild, players reacted, and the entire league felt suddenly out of step, like the ground had shifted overnight.
Bird calls out ESPN host for, quote, hating on WNBA playoff ratings after Caitlin Clark's exit.
The moment Sue Bird flipped the script on Caitlin Clark, the WNBA world went into chaos. Not long ago, Bird was one of Clark's biggest supporters, praising her game, her confidence, her impact. But now, she's taking a completely different stance. In a recent interview, Sue Bird fired back at Stephen A. Smith, saying the WNBA is doing just fine without Caitlin Clark. She brushed off concerns about attendance drops, claimed the league's growth hasn't slowed, and even suggested that Clark's absence was a chance for others to shine. According to Bird, Clark isn't missing out, she's just taking a well-deserved break before possibly heading overseas to play in Europe. But here's the thing, that statement couldn't be further from reality. The numbers don't lie. Ticket sales are plummeting, viewership has cratered, and social media engagement is half of what it was when Clark was on the court. The idea that the WNBA is doing well without her sounds great on paper, but in the real world, it's just not true.
Been impacting the WNBA well before this year. This is not a new thing. Sure. This is, in that way, I do think Caitlin's being used as a pawn. Caitlin didn't bring citizens to the WNBA. This has been happening, and that I think is what's been such a shock.
Fans appear to have finally had enough. With Caitlin Clark sidelined, frustration is boiling over on social media. Her absence has sparked a wave of backlash. Fans are demanding her return and vowing to stop watching the WNBA until she's back.
Ship numbers with Caitlin Clark are astronomical. She is a big draw. She brings in all the things. And yes, the games where she's not playing have lower viewership. But in the WNBA playoffs are still breaking records from previous WNBA.
The numbers don't lie. Without Caitlin Clark, the WNBA is slipping back to reality with every game. Viewership has plummeted in her absence. Yet Sue Bird insists that Clark stepping away won't have any real impact on the league.
I don't want it to grow if it's certain people at the face. And there is still this undertone of jealousy that for some reason I cannot get around calling it anything else but that, because I don't know what else it could be. I thought it was going to get better this season, but it hasn't. There are still people who seemingly, to me, feel like they just don't want Caitlin to be.
Rachel D made a sharp observation. When Caitlin Clark becomes the face of the sport, many WNBA legends seem uneasy. Instead of embracing the growth she brings, they'd rather hit reset than face the new level of competition she represents.
Problem, Sue Bird. I know that you gave her props and you acknowledged how phenomenal she was in terms of a draw. What Shannon Sharp and I were guilty of saying was that not enough folks were appreciating.
Caitlin Clark's arrival completely transformed the WNBA. But the moment she stepped away from the playoffs, it felt like the league lost its heartbeat. Now, with rumors swirling about turmoil in Europe, the WNBA could be facing a serious identity crisis. At first, legend Sue Bird was one of Clark's loudest supporters, praising her as the kind of generational talent who could elevate the entire sport. Bird didn't see just another rookie, she saw the player capable of redefining women's basketball.
Moved home games to bigger arenas when Indiana came to town to accommodate more fans. I'm not finished. Attendance for the entire league is up nearly 50% this year, and Indiana leads all teams with an average attendance of 17,035, up 319% from.
But then, things took a surprising turn. Sue Bird suddenly began downplaying Caitlin Clark's impact, a shock to many, considering how strongly she'd praised her before. Bird seemed to imply that the league's recent struggles had little to do with Clark's absence. The abrupt shift in tone left fans both confused and frustrated. That if there's one person who hasn't wavered in his support for Clark, it's Stephen A. Smith. Known for his bold takes and unapologetic commentary, Smith didn't mince words when Clark left the playoffs. He made it clear that her absence had drained the postseason of its excitement and energy.